Hello and welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley, and today we are going to be talking about how you can create an online course in an hour or less, in less time than it might take to make your favorite meal. We are going to cook up something great for your business. Do you love my analogies here? Welcome. We come here every week to learn how to grow our coaching and service and expert-based businesses online using AttractWell. And of course, if you don't use AttractWell yet, you're welcome to take advantage of what you learn on these calls. And we hope that you'll come and give us a try. We are $1 for your first month and really offer the best of everything that you need to grow and scale your business without having to use 27 different platforms in the process. So I hope that you will come give us a try. We're at attractwell.com. And then, of course, we are live here every week at 2 p.m. Eastern US time with opportunities to plug in, to learn more, and of course, to get things done because this is a work session. So today on Office Hours, we're going to create an online course, and maybe if you have your AttractWell account open, you can create one along with me. So as you're coming in, let me know where in the world you are. You might notice if you tune in regularly, I'm not in my normal place in New York. I'm actually out in PA at my grandmother's spot, helping her out and spending some time here. Where in the world are you? And I hope you are breathing well today. We're getting some of that wildfire smoke where we are right now. Where are you? Head over into the chat. Let us know what is up. Toronto, Gulf Shores, one of my favorite places. Apple Valley, California, Ohio, New York. Welcome, you guys. So thrilled to have you here. Keep it coming. We are thrilled to have you here as always, and let us know, what do you do? What do you do? Who do you help? And what kind of course are you maybe interested in creating today? Please teach me how to build an online course in 1 hour. Don't worry. I will probably have built several of them by the time we are done with this 1 hour that we take to film this today. So let's get into it, you guys. I have some slides that I'm going to go through, and then we are going to actually dig into a real AttractWell account and literally get this done. So who's ready to do that? Let's not waste any more time. We're going to get into it. Right here at the top of the call, pretty please. I know I'm going to go over this in the slides here in just a second, but because it's just me here today, we don't have Greg here. He is off with family. If you would please make sure if you have questions for me so that I don't miss them, please put them into the Q&A. Right, there's Q&A here on the live call. So if you want to ask me something, I want to make sure I answer it. So if you put it into the Q&A, I will. All right. You will get a copy of this call. Thank you, Denise, for asking that. This is recorded right now and it will be uploaded later. And of course, because you have this link, that means that you signed up for our office hours calls. And so you'll be getting a notification of that replay. So I'm going to go ahead and pop out a video and get into this quick round of slides just to kind of go over some housekeeping and of course, the bulk of today's content in terms of an overview. And then we'll actually go and get the thing done. As promised, we are going to build an online class here in under an hour. So we have a new feature in AttractWell as of the time we are filming this right now. We have an AI class creator tool. So we have been really enjoying working with AI. We do have a Write with AI tool that is built into AttractWell. You don't need to go and get a third-party AI writer when you are working with us, which is a super awesome thing. But today I'm going to show you how you can actually utilize our AI to build an online class super quick. That's what's going to get this done for us quickly, as well as another, if you are somebody who doesn't necessarily feel like you need AI to create your course, we also have another really awesome update to how we build online classes inside of AttractWell, that if you are following the formulas that I teach in our How to Build Your Online Course, or as we call it internally, the course. If you have been following along with that, maybe you use my Trello strategy, then this is going to be a really just a huge breath of relief for you, because if you collect all of your information to build a course, you're going to be able to build it very quickly as well once you get into AttractWell. So let's get into it. First things first, we're going to talk about, obviously, if you're here today, if you're on the live call, you probably already know that you want an online course, but you may not necessarily, right? And if you're somebody who watches this in the future, maybe you're you're on the fence, right? Like, do I really need one? I'm a chiropractor. What do I need a course for? Right? Or I'm a consultant. Why do I need a course? I need clients, right? So we're going to talk about why an online course would be a helpful thing to help you grow your business. We'll talk about the actual architecture of an online course inside of AttractWell. So what are the literal components of an online course in AttractWell? So the nomenclature, if you will. And then we'll talk about how, of course, we can use our AI tools in AttractWell to create that course quickly. And as always, we have live help and Q&A because that's what we do here. So if you've got questions, please add those to the Q&A so that I can get to them. And if you would like to set aside time to work together live on a call just like this one, as I mentioned before, we're live every week at 2 p.m. US time, Eastern, on Thursdays. And you actually have the opportunity to just show up, right? As a lot of you have here today. But you can actually say, you know what, in 2 Thursdays from now, I would like to sit down, or it would need to be 3 because technically, I'll tell you guys about it later. But anyway, so you want to say maybe in 3 Thursdays from now, I want to sit down and have Coach Ashley review the structure or the branding of my website or my course or my program or my funnel or something like that. You have the opportunity to ask for that. And you can go to attractwell.com/work review. It's totally free. And we can go over your work in AttractWell together, no matter where you are in your process. And of course, if you want to be a part of these live calls, if you're watching this in the future, you can go to attractwell.com/office hours to be able to join live on Zoom, just like all these great folks did here today. And if you are loving the idea of all this stuff, but don't love the idea of doing it yourself, you can go to attractwell.com/concierge to learn more about our amazing team and how they can help you get things done even more quickly without you having to do all the figuring it out. All right. So let's talk first about why you would want to have an online course. So first things first, as a business owner, you do what you do. And there's a pretty solid chance that there's a category in which you do stuff that other people do too. And your clients, your future leads, they need to know that you're not exactly the same as the next person who may have the same initials behind your name, right? The same credentials that you may have, right? It helps us to stand out because we are able to now authoritatively deliver our expertise inside of a structured setting that could really fool somebody into thinking you spent 100 hours on it when you really just spent 1 or 2. You can certainly pour more time into a course, and really good ones, I do recommend you pour a little bit more than an hour, but I digress. So another way that it really helps you to have an online course is for you to be able to lead with your brand and to create conversations up front that matter to your future clients. I really love having online courses as a way to provide a sort of passive way for people, especially if you are a high ticket coach or consultant. It offers a more passive way for people to maybe build trust with you and to start to see themselves working with you, right? It's a really great sort of lead in offer in that way. And of course, you could also just have a course creation business where you just have a lot of these, and you could do that too. So you're able to introduce your work in a relevant setting here as well. So instead of just launching in with the great, big, huge thing that you deliver, you can take one benefit out of the whole body of work that you do with your most ideal client. And in helping them inside of a course, maybe DIY the solution to a mini problem that is like one of the things you help clients with in your whole scope, then they're able again to start to build that trust, to see that, oh, wow, this is actually somebody who could help me with what I do or what I want to do, right? And then finally, we're positioning you as a credible authority who helps people solve important problems. Now, you are already a credible authority who helps people to solve important problems, but it's kind of like becoming a published author, right? Even if 10 million people didn't buy your book, you're a published author, right? It does something to add to the visible credibility of your brand for you to have some certain things in place, right? So you are an author, you are a speaker, right? Like you have these bodies of work or these things that are well recognized as sort of status symbols, if you will, for your credibility. All right, so who wants one? Raise your hand up. You want an online course? You want to create one today? Let's do it. All right, so the first thing that I want to make sure that we do here is take a look at what an online course looks like, just from a really simple perspective. in AttractWell. The example that I'm going to provide for you today is actually one that is a challenge. So this is an online course that's kind of delivered like a challenge, and it's designed to actually be something that's given away for free. So in an effort to sort of build community, grow your list, etc., that's what you're going to be looking at here. So online classes, which is where you have lessons, right, inside of modules. Maybe your lessons have video, maybe they have images, downloads, etc. That structure is an online class. An online class lives inside of what is called a vault, and a vault lives inside of a member area. So to wind this up from where you're sitting right now, if somebody were to go to your website and click on maybe a link in your menu that says member login, they could click that, go to a login page, and then come in here to the member area and get access to whatever it is they have either paid for or been granted access to. Those things that they get access to live inside of something called a vault. All right. So a member area is a private container on your website that holds stuff that you choose to put there. Whatever you put inside your member area lives in these secondary structures called vaults. Vaults can be online courses. They can be private communities, free or paid. They can be memberships. They can be coaching programs. They could be private client dashboards. You get to pick. Today, we're talking about an online course. So let's click the Holistic Hideaway, home of the Life by Design Challenge. That's a vault we're going to visit. Now, when we get inside the vault, obviously we've got some copy in here talking to them about what it is. And then we've got the contents of the vault, which are a page, an online class, and a discussion room. You 100% need to have an online class if you're going to have an online course, right? The class structure is where we're going to go lesson by lesson by lesson by lesson, right? So that's what we're going to be focusing on today, is creating an online class, getting it into a vault, and then knowing how we can then share that vault to get people into it, right? You can do more than what I'm going to show you today, such as adding a page, adding a discussion room, and so on. All right. Now, inside of that online class content, it looks like this, where we can click, or we can click start class. We can click on welcome here. We can click on start class. You can choose whether or not to have people progress by having completed the lesson before. There's any number of ways you can choose to have people progress through an online course or an online class content here. But we're going to keep it pretty simple today and just make sure that we've got our lessons uploaded. All right. And so inside of the lesson, you can have all kinds of content. This is where you might have video. If you choose to have video, in this case, we've got an image and some copy. You can have downloads here. You can even have a sort of separate discussion area that is only on this lesson page. So those are all things that you can do here. So let's talk about creating an online course. I love to, when embarking on a project, go ahead and lay out what our workflow is going to be so that we can work efficiently. So our order of operations for this will be to first decide what problem you're solving and for whom, right? What's the problem? Who's it for? Then we will outline the steps to solve that problem. Now, you may have already done this, and if you have, fantastic. If you have not, we can use AI to do this. We'll then use that outline of steps to create our online class. We will create a vault that will hold our online class, and then we'll add that class to the vault and make the vault set up to share, right? Because your online class has to live in a vault. The vault is what somebody pays to get access to, or they're granted access to by you, however they get access to it. All right. So if you're ready to create one, let's go get into it. And of course, we will get into coaching, live help, and Q&A. So I'm going to pop out of my share here real quick and just make sure that we're good on the Q&A here. Marcia says, is it possible to sell an online course without an audience or online presence? It depends. If you, Marcia, have a network that's maybe not an online, you haven't built yourself up as an authority yet, but you are well networked, then yeah, it's still possible. I mean, imagine maybe, for instance, you're a yoga instructor, or you are a therapist of some kind. Maybe you do yoga therapy. Let's just use that as an example. Maybe you're a yoga therapist, and you know that what you do is a great complement to what chiropractors do, what acupuncturists do, what clinical therapists do. And maybe if you work specifically with women, what OBGYNs also, right? So we're going to look at that network of of folks that we may be able to reach out to, there are ways to do this in such a way that you don't have to have like a huge online presence. You don't need a massive list to do this. Okay. You could take what I'm going to share with you today, Mark, and turn it into a monthly membership. Heather is launching a coaching program next month that will have one-on-one group or self-paced option. Would love to have one single discussion room that people are funneled into versus a separate one in each vault. Okay, Heather, I'm going to get that. I'm going to get to that with you after I go through this walkthrough. For those of us first starting our business, which comes first, one-on-one clients or an online course? Can or should you do both at the same time, with the course being the less expensive option? Brandon, you answered your question with your question. I believe that you should coursify how you coach. And so with that, you put your curriculum into an online course and you put your one-on-one clients through it, right? So there's a lot that we can do with that. Before I get in, I want to work with one of you guys here live today. So let me know in the chat, come into the chat, tell me, what problem do you want to solve and who's it for? What's the problem you want to solve and who's it for? Frank, your question here about how to market the course. I do have a separate training resource that I can get you connected to. If you have an AttractWell account, it is something that you get access to for free. Erin, I see a yes, please from you. If you want to come out and chat here, pop your hand up for me. Erin Dufour, you were the first one to do that. Pop your hand up here. Hey, come on out. Let's talk. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Great, great. Glad we could help today. So let's get into this. We're going to create an online course. We're going to do this in Jane's account here, but you can follow these same steps to do this in your own, of course. So let's go over to, and guys, if you haven't seen this yet, under classes in this member area menu right here, you'll see that we can go to create class, and we now have two new options. And I'm going to use the AI class creator tool to help Erin create a class first. So what is our class about? What are we doing?
So I'm an ICU nurse. I've stepped away from the bedside and I help other critical care nurses. And we are always saying yes to everything. Yes, you need help at another shift. Yes, my kids need this. Yes, we need that. So I want to help these women, these nurses that give everything. I want them to help them to learn to say no, the power of saying no, so that they can prioritize self-care and show up better for everybody.
Oh, it's powerful. Okay, so this is the power of saying no, how to prioritize self-care, and what was the last part?
To show up better in your yes. I guess that would be a good way.
Okay, let's see how the AI does with that.
Okay.
We may find that we need to modify this just because it may not get this, but let's see how intelligent this artificial intelligence actually is. Okay, and so this is for stressed out, overextended, I see
nurses. Say critical care nurses. Yeah, say critical care
nurses. Okay. Okay. And then what would you say is a tone that you like if you were to teach something like this? I mean, are we straightforward? Are we lighthearted? Like what would you say might characterize how you communicate with fellow critical care nurses?
I feel like we're very serious already. So it has to be logical, but it has to be in a lighter tone. Like they have to be able to, when you sit down, you're just gonna be like, not like, oh gosh, another education that I have to learn how to treat a new patient or something. Okay. So I would say lighthearted.
Okay, so we'll say a lighthearted, affirming tone. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right, so let's create a class outline. Is this something, have you already created an outline?
So I have not created an outline. I mean, I was watching your stuff the other day, and it is on my to-do list to play around with AI and create an outline.
Okay. Well, awesome. So you're going to see an example of what this will look like and what this does. And this is so cool. If you don't have an outline yet, start with this AI class creator, and it'll create one for you. And then you can move into the next step, which is the outline creator, which you can actually make modifications on. And it's also where you would start if you already have your course outlined. So let's look at this, understanding the power of saying no, the art of saying no with grace, prioritizing self-care, showing up better in our yes, power of a thoughtful yes, yes to what this is pretty good. What do you think?
Okay, it's way too smart now.
I agree. I'm a little concerned about our future. All right, let's
Yes.
go look at this. So we'll go to next steps. So here's what we're doing. We've got our modules, right? So we know that this is what's also called the category, if you're building lesson by lesson. So we've got our first module is this understanding the power of saying no, the art of saying no with grace, prioritizing self-care. If there are things that you feel belong in here, then you could simply go add lesson, drag it to where you know you need it to go, right? If this needs to live in understanding the power of saying no, we're going to paste that there. We'll give it whatever we want to tell it, and then we'll talk about whatever it is that we want to talk about. Now, in all of these, another thing that you can do is choose if this is going to be an online course or a program where this content is something that should be interacted with in a community type setting, then allow discussion and go ahead while you're here and ask whatever discussion prompt type questions that you want. So we're just going to allow discussion on all of these. And then you would say, you know, what's your goal? Your goal in learning how to better say no. Say no first and yes to yourself, right? And we could go through and ask these questions. And the cool thing about this is, and why I'm personally so excited about this, because I build this stuff all the time. And I see how much time it can take to just go lesson by lesson by lesson by lesson. And you have to fill out all of this stuff. Well, we've got like our entire skeleton right here and ready to go, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to delete this one that actually doesn't have any content. And now that we've got this done and we like it, you know, as it is, we're going to go create the class.
Wow. Just wow.
There it is. It's there. It's voila. She's done. Well, it's not totally done. And here's why. When we go into our content here, and you want to do this lesson by lesson, we will. So right here, it says in this lesson, we debunk the myth of doing it all and explore the negative impact that it can have on our well-being. We'll discuss the importance of setting boundaries and how saying no can actually lead to greater effectiveness and happiness. That's so good. But that's not enough to make it an online course lesson. So I'm going to do a couple of quick things. I'm going to, for the sake of pasting into our AI writer, because we're about to use AI a second time, I'm going to give it the title of the course, and that is this guy right here. Copy, and I'm going to paste plain text here. I'm going to copy all of this. Okay, and now I'm going to go over here to write with AI, and I'm going to paste in that stuff, but I'm going to, let me drag this guy down so I can see it better. So, write an online lesson for the following, or for the, let me see, write an online lesson for this class. The title of the course is, so title of the course is, and we'll put this in exclamation, or this in quotes, right? We'll say, the module of the course this lesson is called, I'm going to put colons here just to be super sure that it knows what I'm talking about, although it clearly knows a lot. Here is what I have so far for this lesson and what I want to cover in it, right? So All right, so now I'm telling it to write an online lesson for this course based on what I've already written. The title is, the module is, here's what I have so far. Let's see what it does.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm literally just copying and pasting all the stuff that it already did, and I'm asking it to give me something bigger, right? And so once we have it, if we like it, we can go copy and paste it down here into the lesson copy itself. Now, what I would normally do, and this is not going to get you your online course in an hour, but what I would normally do is I would actually use what they've provided and then go make a video about that, right? I'd turn on my camera and start talking about that. I do it for about 5 minutes, shut it off, add it to the AttractWell videos, add it here, and we're good to go, right?
Okay.
But if you wanted to have something that was just text-based, then you could certainly do this, right? And so here is just a whole heck of a lot of lesson copy. You may or may not like it. We can go copy to clipboard. And then I'm going to come over here and paste it all in, right? There you go. So obviously it didn't get it right totally because it's telling me the lesson title is something different than what I titled it. But you can see how you can actually get some, you can get some additional content out of this. So here, how about, let's look at this another way. I'm going to go back to Write with AI. I didn't love what they created for me. So I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to say, I have an online course titled,
Okay.
right? And then we're going to say, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to delete that. Okay, so we're going to say, I would like you to write a lesson that debunks the myth of doing it all. I'm just basically taking what they put below and explores the, I'm going to copy this, negative impact. I'm just going to copy.
So can't you just delete? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there we go. It can have on our well-being, and I'll tell it to discuss the importance. Okay. Write out. Okay, so I don't think that the module title is necessary here. Let's see what it does with that.
Ashley, in doing this, can we add things like, so as a nurse, I'm always looking at different resources. So even in nursing care, I do that in my personal life, just in research, I research a lot of stuff and all that. So is it okay to add additional resources? Like in one of my courses, I want to do a gratitude course because I'm around a lot of cynical people. Doesn't matter if it's nurses or whatnot, but like there's beautiful other resources on the internet, organizations and whatnot of living. So instead of me having to provide a daily gratitude comment or a weekly or whatnot, like if they wanted to subscribe to somebody else's gratitude thing, like I could just connect that resource. Can you do that? Do you recommend that?
So it depends on how you're using it and sort of, you know, whether you're taking payment, right? Making sure that you are here, I'm just going to delete this first part and see what it does. I'm not liking what it's coming up with. So if you're wanting to use third-party content, it depends on how it's being positioned. Sometimes you could, well, can you give me an example of how you might do that inside of this course?
Gratitude was one, nothing for this one yet.
Okay, so you could make a recommendation of a resource. So if another content creator has like a journal, you can put a link to that journal there, right? If they have, if you want to recommend that they go do something, then yeah, but by all means do that. If you're going to cite them, just make sure that if their work is going to be mentioned, that you're citing them appropriately. And that you have enough of your own, you know, your own content, right? If you're going to be charging for this, right?
Well, let's say I read a book on the power of saying no or whatnot. Like, could I add that in, like, you know, I could, you know, put a quote from the author in there and say, this is a great resource to read. Like, so if they wanted to read additional books on it.
Oh gosh, yeah. You can put links in there. And I mean, if let's just say you're an Amazon associate, for instance, those could be affiliate links, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I have programs like that where I often, especially in coaching group programs, I will always have a reading list, right? Because
Okay.
that's, that's providing people with supplemental information. Here we go. I think I may finally have it. We're just going to copy this and put it in. But anyway, basically what you're doing is you're going through and you are putting in, voila, here you go. You can create something just like this. You can go through all of the lessons and your content is done. And yeah, absolutely. You could go in and let's just say, for example, you want to recommend, maybe you want to go down here and say recommended reading.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then you
Okay.
could put a title in here. You could put an image of a book. And then of course, anything there you can link
Mm-hmm.
and send them off to, wherever you'd like for them to go. Yeah. So you can
Now,
100% reference content. For
do you
sure.
need to put that, like, if you have an affiliate link, do you also at the bottom or somewhere in that class put like a clause in there about affiliate links?
You absolutely can. It's going to depend on where you are, right? Like the rules around that, like where it is required for you to put that. I would definitely kind of check in with like your locality. We do serve folks from all over the world, so I don't want to necessarily say something that would be wrong in one place and not in another. But yeah, like just like you would put that on a blog, like a disclaimer on a blog page or like in your website terms, you could just put a little blurb in there that says, hey, by the way, these are links that I'm sharing that, I may get a commission if you purchase something.
Okay.
But yeah, you'll want to check and see based on where you are, whether or not that's a requirement. So
Okay.
we've gotten to this point here where we've built our course, right? You may go and make a quick video for each of these things that the AI has set up for you, but we do need to go ahead and brand this and make sure that we've got our little summary in place here as well as about. So I am going to ask them, the AI, to summarize. Here we go. We're going to go right with AI. I'm going to say, write a brief summary of what a student can expect in my course titled encourage them to get started now. And don't forget to leave a comment so you can connect with your community. All right, so we'll write that. That'll go into several places in our process here. So we're completing the online class right now. So here we go. Welcome. Da, da, da. Perfect. So let's copy to clipboard. Perfect. That's going to go right down here. Paste. Love it.
Send that to me, Ashley. No.
Right. All right. So I'm going to paste that here. That's our short summary. I just took this first thing here. I'm going to save these changes. And why don't we go ahead and create our branding so that we can use those in a couple of other places. So I'm going to go add a design from Canva. And we do have, if you look up our tech tools, our tech tips and tricks, I think is what we called it, on our YouTube channel. I actually have a download that has like a sort of a cheat sheet of all of the different image sizes that you might use for stuff inside of AttractWell. But for this purpose, we're just going to look up blog banner because I just want a big, pretty image that we can use as a background, maybe something beachy just to keep it nice. So let's enable our cookies so that we can use the Canva for AttractWell plugin here. All right, so I'm going to go over here to elements. She needs to learn the power of saying no, probably so that she can feel more peaceful. And I think that she probably feels pretty peaceful in a place that looks like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll set that as
Water
the background.
or the mountains.
Yeah, we could do that too. And actually what we could do is we can just go to mountains since I already pulled that up. I'll show you guys how to find it. So go to mountains, go to photos. Oh, that's gorgeous. Look at that. So set replace background or set as background image. That's nice. We can use that. Okay, so since our title is really long, the next image that we're going to create, is that not loading for some reason? Let's go do that again. Blog banner, open. Canva has been just a little weird for me today. Here we go. Set images background and send to AttractWell. So the next thing that we'll do after we have this uploaded is we are going to create the sort of main image for, here he is, for this course. And that's going to show up inside the vault, inside the online course, as well as inside your member area. So this main photo is going to be a text-based image that we'll create in Canva. You could do this in Canva outside of AttractWell and save it as like a transparent background if you want it to be like round or another shape or something like that. But we're going to keep it simple with a square. But this is called the power of saying no. We're just going to focus on those words because we don't want tiny in our tiny text in our image here. So one thing that I wanted to show you here is you can actually hover over this little eye and it'll tell you the recommended size for your images. And then you can just go straight in. So this one says 200 by 200, add a design from Canva, go to custom and put in 200 and 200, and it'll give you the right size. If you're using just a nice image like the one that I shared with you, like a, you know, just something that's like a pattern or something that's just fairly neutral, it's not going to matter too much what that background banner dimensions are, so long as it's big enough. Okay, so this is called the power of saying no. I like to use a different, let's see, the power of saying no. So I'm going to use a different block for each one. So this will be this will be power. I'm going to move it around a little bit. So the power of saying no. And you will want to, of course, have your brand kit set up in Canva, ideally, if you haven't already, so that you make sure that anything that you create for this program or for your brand generally is going to have congruent design, right? So you're not going to be using 27 different types of fonts in your in the stuff that you create. So kind of a branding basic. So I'm going to make no in all caps just because we want to be serious about this. And we'll put power in some kind of a cute font or something that's a little bit more dramatic, right? Don't necessarily love that, but this is not a design session. You can play around with this to your heart's content, right? So, and maybe power should actually be all uppercase as well. I love it. Right, so we can say we're going to make that not bold. So the power of saying no. And maybe no becomes like really big. I really could get into like, we could play around with this a lot, but we're not going to do too crazy much today. Just want to use a. All right. For the sake of time, we're going to finish this up here really quick. Make these just kind of roughly the right size. Okay, so I'm going to drag him out so that he's big enough to read. Make sure he's centered. And let's send him to AttractWell. Honestly, something like that is usually what's going to take you the most time, is like trying to make it cute. That's the case for most of us, right?
Creativity,
So now that
yeah.
Exactly. So, and if you want a designer to do this, we have a team that can do it for you. So one thing that I want to do here is I want to go ahead and just copy all of this because that's about to go into our vault. And actually, you know what, matter of fact, I'm going to keep this tab open because I'm going to be borrowing several things from here when we create our vault. So we've just created our online class. Let's go into our vault now. Oh, I meant to open that in a new tab. Here, open in new tab because we want to go and grab our copy that we already have. So we're going to create a vault. And then we're going to give it the same name as this because it's the name of your course. Vault name, paste, vault summary, just like the class summary. Copy it, paste it. Add your, oh, we have to save it to add our content. Okay. And then we go right here, we add our class, our existing online class. There it is. You can add that same cover photo that we already used. Same main photo that we already used. And then the about this vault. We can go and copy what we decided on for the class as well. Obviously, you can do something slightly different here and make it more abbreviated because what we are encouraging them to do is to get into the modules, right? So maybe we can actually, let's just go ahead and get rid of this and we'll say, head into the course modules now to get started, right? And we'll save. And it's basically ready. What we can do now is decide how we save this or how we share this rather. So we have a couple of options. We can go view the vault. And we can actually see what's here. We could actually make this look a little cuter, and that doesn't take a lot of time. Let's come over here real quick. We are in the online class. We need to be in the vault. Okay, let's make this look nicer. So this is, we're gonna call this the class modules. Let's go to Canva, but after we hover and see that it says 1050 by 400. You see that? So let's go create a design, image size custom. 1050, 400, open. And then let's go and add that lovely mountain image that we've already used. Set it as the background. We will add this guy here because we're going to put some text over it. Oh, come on. There we go. I want to make that, I'll change the opacity of that here in just a minute. Let's add some text. And we're going to go and change that to a font that we've maybe just used, like this one. So this would be class. And then let's do one more. And this will say modules. Okay, and let's change that one to this Buffalo script and make that not all caps. Okay, let's try that again. Perfect. Okay, so to modify this, I'm going to lock him so he doesn't move. Select this, make it big, and center it. And then I'm going to take this guy and unlock it. And let's make that just a little bit less transparent so it looks nicer.
Love it.
There we go.
Ashley,
So, yep.
my Canva account doesn't link. So like when I open an AttractWell, when I go to Canva, I don't feel like it links to my personal account. Like it helps me do that. But so is there a way that to make sure that it does link? Because if I have all of my brand information in my personal Canva with my team and all that, and maybe it's because I have a team account. Is that why?
So what I've often found, it's kind of a Canva issue and like their API, unfortunately, sometimes it's a weird thing I experience as well. I just make sure that I go and I log into my Canva account in the same browser session before you then go into AttractWell. And sometimes you may need to, actually like refresh your cookies and kind of clear your cache and stuff like that. So let me
Okay.
go back over here to this. Here we go. Oh, you see what I did wrong there? We did not use the right image. I did that too fast. Let's go into our vault. Oh, you see what we did? I put them in the wrong place. Here I am being all speedy and doing the wrong thing. So that's our main photo. And then we have this photo. So you see how I did that wrong? Learn from my mistakes. Okay, so let's look at this again. I must not have saved yet. Let's see, did that cover photo?
Save and refresh.
Yeah, there we go. Beautiful. Let's try that again. I don't know what is, oh, I know what it is. I did it in the vault as well. So that's our online class. Let's go fix that in the vault where I did that incorrectly. All right, so I'm going to be getting to all of your awesome questions here in just a second, you guys. And thank you so much for being open to sharing this with us today. So our cover photo is that one, and our main photo is that one. And that should have us good to go right here. All right, so how we let people into this is going to depend on whether you're selling this and you know, and how you're going about doing that. Now, if you want to set this up to share, make sure that you have your Stripe account connected. We're going to go to payment setup, require payment to access the vault. This particular account that I'm demoing right now doesn't have Stripe set up, so I can't set up the pricing, but you would be setting up the pricing. And then what I would do is that description that we have inside of this online class, right? This, here we go. I'm going to copy this. And this is more or less the copy that you're going to want to use on that checkout page, because it's going to be telling them what they get when they get into it, right? So let's paste, right? And this kind of becomes a mini sales page. So that's one way that you could do it. You could also set up a landing page or a page and connect the vault to it and allow people access that way. So that is in a nutshell how you get this set up pretty quickly. So thank you, Erin, again for being open to kind of walking through that with us, being a guinea pig with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I know that there's a bunch of questions here and I'm going to get to them. So let me actually show you real quick, you guys, because I did promise this inside of AttractWell. There is a place where you can go if you are just getting started. Number one, if you're just getting started in what you do and you are not clear on how to get your first client, the AttractWell Pipeline Igniter is really the best place for you to go, because it's going to help you take what probably feels like a big, murky, cloudy, scary lot of work in the digital space and make it make a lot of logical sense to what you already know how and are qualified to do. It just really kind of breaks things down into bite-sized steps that you can implement quickly and start the building blocks that take you up to that level where I am ready to really start growing a following, right? Now, when you're ready to start growing a following and really operating, you know, as an expert in the digital space, as somebody who has an email list, who is putting content out into the world, attracting leads and moving people into programs on any degree of automated or on an unautomated basis, you're going to want to take advantage of the launch challenge. And this is exclusive to folks who are with us in AttractWell. If you have an AttractWell account, you go to My Account Settings and you click right here on the AttractWell Launch Challenge. You get into here and click Sign Up Now. It is free for you as of the time we're filming this. And you're going to be able to access really in the soup to nuts fashion, everything that you need to do in order to launch yourself, right? So we're not going to try to put the cart before the horse in terms of building a signature program when we don't have our first client yet, for instance, right? Or if we don't have like just the basic brand stuff set up so that we are really putting in work right now that pays us long-term. So I really recommend this. If you are really new, you don't have a following at all to speak of or a presence at all, especially a presence. If you don't have a presence to speak of, this is a really great place to start. If you are already serving clients, follow what I've shared with you today to either use the outline, the outline course creator, right? Use AI to help you if you need some ideas, but get the way you work with your clients into an online course so that you're kind of doing like a two birds with one stone thing here, right? You have a thing that you could sell for cheaper than it is for you to work one-on-one with somebody, but that same content is what you're going to be giving to your one-on-one clients to do as work, so that that's time when you spend time, maybe it's like you do one-on-one coaching, for instance. You're not going to spend 45% or more of your time on a call teaching them something because they watched that video or they read that content before they got on the call with you, right? Maybe they even did an implementation step and you are coaching, more similar to, say, like someone who is in sports coaching might do, where someone actually needs to be performing action for you to evaluate, right? So you can really get into that true coaching sense if you are putting your methodology, your curriculum, if you will, into an online course. So I cannot recommend that if as a strategy. So if you are serving clients currently, that's going to be a great thing for you to do. Okay. If you're not networked, I would start networking. It's a really important thing to do. This would work. I think I answered that already. This works as a monthly membership. It's just in how you set up, how you charge for the vault. And we do have several trainings on payments on the AttractWell platform. You could also look up in our help center payments, and that sets up there as well. Let's see. Does AttractWell do marketing? So depends on what you mean by that. You can utilize SEO, search engine optimization, which is a form of marketing your business. And you can blog. Obviously, that's part of what you would be doing with an SEO strategy. And you can really, what you do with AttractWell for the most part is how you manage the moving pieces of your business, right? A lot of what you're doing for marketing, generally speaking, is going to be your face, your voice out in the world. And it's often going to be off of the AttractWell platform. Your blog would be one exception to that, right? Where you're actually publishing. But yeah, like you would be pointing to stuff on your AttractWell website and communicating with people who are in your AttractWell contact manager if you are out, belly to belly in the world. So AttractWell helps facilitate your marketing is probably the better way for me to answer that succinctly. Mark, yes, you can have AI write a script for your video. That's such a great idea. So when you use the AI course creator tool, take that input and say, write me a script for a lesson about this. And then you have a script for the video you make for your course. Exactly. Thank you, Mark. All right, Peggy says, to recap so far, first I would use the course creator tool and then make the outline. So the course creator tool, actually, Peggy, makes the outline for you. You don't need to make the outline if you're using the course creator tool or the AI course creator. If you already have an outline, then you just take the outline route and you just plug in all of your outline in there. And again, if you're using how to build your online course, then if you're creating the outline as I teach you there, make it and then bring it over to the outline tool builder. And you can take what you've created in that course and plug it in very quickly. You can use our AI to write lead magnets. Absolutely, Marcia. I think I demonstrated that on one of our previous AI focused calls like this one. So be sure to check our YouTube channel for that replay. Would you suggest making a mini course first and then make a signature course? That's a great question, Peggy. It's really a matter of preference. There's not really a right or wrong here. It kind of, I think, depends on the audience that you currently have access to, whether that's one that you've built or what you could have access to via, maybe influencers or people who have lists that you might be able to co-op with. Generally speaking, just coming from where I sit right now, I recommend maybe making a mini course first because it'll have you feeling better about making courses and programs, and you will have had more experience before you go and try to write, like your life's work, that's how a lot of us treat a signature program. It's like, this is the ultimate of ultimate. And if we spend a year to make it, by the time we're done with it, it's not as relevant to us as when we started, right? So if you can get a small thing knocked out, you'll start to operate and think, I think, more practically about the bigger things that your business needs. So I'm a big proponent of starting small. And I believe that starting small gets you to big way faster than aiming for a big thing first. And that's a lot of what the AttractWell Pipeline Igniter is about. And I think it's just a really important mindset. Like when we sit and we say, you know what, that's what I'd really like. That person just had an $8 million launch and he's got a this and he's got a this, he's got a that, he's got a YouTube, he's got a blah, 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 blah. I want that. And then we start trying to do what that guy is doing. Well, that guy's been doing what he's doing for 12 years. He learned all of the lessons along the way, right? He could sell you a shortcut, but he'd be lying to you, right? You have to build the experience, and the way to kind of leapfrog up to that place where you want to be is to create a thing and then use that to leverage you up to the next thing, right? And it starts with just selling. I mean, you could sell your information for $1 and scale that up to 10,000, and it's not really hard to do. But as long as it stays like an abstract thought, like a lot of people's signature programs, as long as it stays like some massive abstract thought, it's not really going to move you forward. So mini course, that was long-winded, sorry. Heather, is there a checklist of things to prepare prior to going into the course creator? Yes, actually there is. And you will find that in How to Build Your Online Course. And we're actually going to be fully re-releasing all of the new modules coming up this coming week. So, but a lot of what's already in there, including that checklist, you're going to find. So if you go to attractwell.com/online course, that's where you can get access to the course, where I go over all of the stuff of creating online courses, as well as my project management and time management tools, workflows, and things like that. How do I get a link for a landing page for people to land on the page only and not the website? So Dana, when you create a landing page and you have a URL for it, that is where they land. If you're wanting to use a different URL, meaning like, so with AttractWell, you have one URL that you can have attached to your whole AttractWell site. It's going to be attractwell.com/ whatever the name of your page is, right? Or /landing/ whatever the name of the page is. If you want to like mask the URL, right? If you own a different URL, for instance, and you want to use like freeguide-to-whatever.com, then you go into Namecheap or GoDaddy or whatever your domain manager is, and you point it to that, your AttractWell website /landing/ whatever, right? If you want to like do like for vanity's sake or for branding, a landing page like that, if that's what you mean. So yeah, they're not going to go to the rest of your website. Another thing that you can do, if you want, is you can go to, if you're using Pages to do this, you can choose to not show your header or your footer so that they wouldn't be able to navigate off the page, if that's something that's of concern for you as well. Okay. Can I use my AttractWell site for different things if I have more than one vault? For example, can I teach Lamaze in one vault and host a girlfriend's cookbook in another? You better believe it, Denise. Yes, you can. And you can even, like, nobody will see what's in your vault unless you let that individual see. Like if one person is both in the Lamaze class and the girlfriend's book club, they're going to see both of those options. But if they're just in the book club, they're not even going to know that the Lamaze class is in there. So you have all of those options. And if you want them to be able to see, like if you want all your Lamaze clients to see that they can join the book club, then you can make the book club visible to anybody, and they could join it. Okay. I have to use a separate HIPAA compliant site for coaching. Can I use my AttractWell site for a landing page and use a link to send them to the HIPAA site? Yes, absolutely. I see a lot of folks who need that specifically. Doing that with us, they'll basically use AttractWell for our marketing, and then they'll funnel them off to a separate place where any HIPAA compliant communication needs to take place. There are actually a lot of folks who are clinical who use us, but I can't speak authoritatively on what the legal lines are around what is HIPAA compliant and where. So obviously, use caution with that, and definitely reach out to our team. I know Greg knows a little bit more about this. One vault can have as many online classes, Erin, as you want. One vault can have as many pages as you want, as many discussion rooms as you want, based on your plan level. If you have unlimited vaults and classes, you can have unlimited classes in your vault, right? Okay, let me get back up here. Okay, so Heather promised to answer this question. I'm launching a coaching program next month that will have a one-on-one group or self-paced option. Would love to have one single discussion room that people are funneled into versus a separate one in each vault. What might be the most seamless way to execute that? So Heather, if you're still here, would you raise your hand for me? And I'd like to bring you out and we can talk about that really quickly here. And there may be, let me see. Let me find my participants. There you are. Okay. So tell me what are you imagining here for this program?
So it's the same content. It's similar to what you've, talked about a couple times. It's the same content, but people are going to have different options based upon the support they want, the budget they have. So they'll have the opportunity to either work one-on-one with me. There'll be a group coaching element, or there'll be a self-study. So I've got 3 vaults, but I would rather there kind of just be a student like chat versus, there might be one person working one-on-one, but there's, 10 people in the group chat. So I was trying to find a way to execute that.
Yeah.
I thought about just having a separate vault that had a discussion room and then somehow linking them, but I didn't know if there was a better way to do that.
Yeah, you could actually do all of this with one vault. And what you would do is you would have the 3 different payment options for the vault. And when you set up those payment options, you're going to use automations and tags and things like that. And so obviously everybody is going to get access to all the vault content, which is going to be the content itself, right? As well as the discussion room. You want everybody to have those things. But if you're, if the group calls are happening on schedule, then, for this program, you would have a campaign that has the private Zoom link included. And that would be something that maybe you set the campaign up so that it automatically does this and you don't have to think about it. And it only sends to the people who are tagged for those group calls, right? And then there would be a different campaign that would maybe go to the one-on-one people that says, here's, where you're going to go schedule your one-on-one call with me. So you could actually achieve this using campaigns to deliver the private experience in their inbox. And then the automations, when you're creating those different payment options would be how you would execute those.
That is genius. I never thought of that in a million years.
So much less work, isn't it?
Yes, it totally is. And I suppose in that regard, if they all have access to the same thing, then I might be able to tease, the perks of one-on-one or the perks of group to the people that have sort of the lower, lesser option.
That's right. And when after you have those calls with the people on group or your one-on-one people, you can go in and say, hey, just had group call with such and such, whatever. Like you can send the people to wherever they can go to upgrade and have your clients who are at those higher tier levels actually communicating and sharing the benefits. So yeah, it's sort of like internal pull marketing. Yeah.
Love that. Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
Glad we could work that out. Thanks for coming out. All right, let's see what's next. We got so many great questions today, and I'm going to do my absolute best to get to all of them. Brandon, Coach Brandon B, for those of us who are just starting our business, which comes first, one-on-one clients or an online course? I did answer that, and I hope that made sense to you, Brandon. You're going to want to 2 birds, 1 stone that. Curriculum, actually go to our YouTube channel. There's a video called Coursify Your Coaching. And that's where I actually talk about doing what I'm describing here. So you could actually turn your one-on-one content into a course, sell that at a lower price point, and then you use that same content to teach your clients so that you spend more time coaching your clients because they're implementing. Peggy, I don't know that I would be able to get to this demonstration on this call today, but let me see what I can do. Let's see. I've answered this one and this one. I'm so used to having a couple or at least one other person on the call. Okay, I've seen in the AttractWell vaults of other people that have a bottom section you may also be interested in and a list of other available courses. So Heather, when you see that, that means that they have other vaults that have checked off, let others see and access this vault or something to that effect. I'll show you what that looks like. So in your vault settings, on the individual vaults, when you so like this one, for instance, let others in the member area see and join this vault. We click that. And then if someone clicks the vault, but they're not in it yet, you have a couple of options, right? So if that is something that is for sale, then you could send them to the sales page for it. So if it's another course that they could buy, send them to the sales page, use this website custom page here, or a different URL entirely. Or if you just want it to be free, then you can just send them into the vault, right? So you may also like, is going to be achieved by clicking or checking this checkbox here, and then choosing where you want to send them to after they click. Great question. One vault can have unlimited classes and pages, but they must be related if they are in one vault. I mean, it, like in a literal sense, no, but I obviously I would recommend that they all be related. The idea here is, and I actually have, I think, a couple of options. This one vault that I am showing you right now, actually, is one, it's actually set up for a brand partner for Young Living, and they have, I'll show you, this would be like an example if you have like a direct sales business and you want to have like a place to focus on company stuff and a place to focus on product stuff, for instance. So this actually is 2 classes, right? So we've taken 2 important concepts from inside of what we're trying to accomplish in this vault, and we've broken them into 2 different places because, and I'll show you why. This one is designed to be like an ever-growing trove of information, and it can get kind of large and unwieldy, whereas this is like the quick actionable stuff. So that's like a use case for maybe having more than one online class inside of a vault. And then you may want to have multiple pages. I like having a guide page or like a start here page. You'll see that in a lot of the courses that I create on our platform. And then, in this particular case, we've got like a bulletin board that is a page, a meet the team page, and then you could have 1 or more discussion rooms, and there's lots of different use cases for those. But whatever's in the vault, anyone who is also like, if you have stuff in the vault, anybody who's in the vault is going to see everything that's in the vault, right? So there's not like, if you need to have a separate, like a fully separate experience, then you would want to have a different vault that's designed for that purpose. Okay. So many fantastic questions today. It is possible to set up a shop tab. Yes, absolutely. That would just be in modifying your menu, and you would be sending them to your website.com/shop, I think is how that would work. But yeah, that would be just a menu, like a new menu in the list of your menu items. Okay, Peggy, let's dig into this real quick. I think we can do this quickly. All right, so you wanted to know how to make a landing page or a page that will let someone leave their name, their email address, and then you want to have them ask you a question, or maybe here, I'm gonna, if you're still here, actually, let me know before I get into this. Will you raise your hand for me, Peggy? If you are still here, and I will bring you out and show you this. Okay, here we go. Hi.
Hello.
Okay, so what is it that we're wanting to do with the, are you asking them a question, or are you having them ask you a question?
They're going to be asking me questions. So my blog is a Q&A blog. So I write the blog, blah, blah, blah. Please leave me your questions here. So I would like them to stay on my on AttractWell so that it counts for like I want to say CEO, but that's not so
SEO.
I don't want to SEO.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't want to send
Yeah.
them to some other page some other site that I was using for the meantime.
Got you. Yeah, so super simple. You would modify whatever copy on the page, hey, sign up to ask Peggy a question, right? This would be called Ask Peggy a Question. You're going to go into the page settings under leads. And then obviously this is not going to be here. You will, say, leave your information and add your question below, right? It's what you would put here. Just going to delete this for now. And the important part is we need the name, we need the email. We don't need the phone. We're going to add a field. We're going to make this long text. We're going to require it.
Wow.
And then leave your question for Peggy below. That doesn't need to be capitalized. And then this is going to go into their past actions. So when they leave this, you're going to get a notification when they fill this out You could attach a campaign that says, thank you for leaving your question, tag them with blog question or something like that. And you could even send them to a special confirmation page that says, thanks for asking your question. I'll be in touch, or wait, be on the lookout for my next post or something like that. Right. So that's what that would look like. So when it's done, all said and done, obviously you'll make it look nicer than this. I don't know if this button is, I don't think this button is actually linked. Let me go check this real quick. Oh, wait, I just clicked it too fast. So it is linked. Here we go. So you would obviously have different copy here. But there we go. They would put in their name, their email, and then they would put in their question.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad we could help.
Terrific.
Okay. Thank you all for sticking around. 10 minutes over time today, but we got a lot done. And there is so much more to come. And there's so much more already on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't done so yet, get into AttractWell and let's get started with your first project. If you don't know where to start, we have so many resources for you. If you still feel like you don't know where to start, I'm back here on Thursday next week, same time. Ask our team, support at attractwell.com. They're incredibly helpful. And if you would like to hire someone to hold your hand through something, you can go and check out attractwell.com/concierge. Our team is really awesome. So thank you guys. We are so honored to be a part of your journey and look forward to seeing you next week. Till then, take care, everybody.